Namaste and welcome to the weekly wellness tune-up. This discussion came from a question someone recently asked me about self-doubt, if I ever have self-doubt. And so there's a few ways to look at that. Number one, the self, the supreme self, there's nothing to ever doubt. Only the ego can be doubted. And so when I'm associating with the small self, the ego, the personality, yes, there's self-doubt, and there should be, because that helps us get to the big self. Many people actually see self-doubt as a weakness. That's a modern society view, that if we have self-doubt, it's a weakness or even a failure, a sign that there's maybe something wrong with us. But I don't see self-doubt as an enemy. I see it more as a path, actually. It's a path to really explore our deeper truth, and it's a path to our own transformation, a path into something we haven't allowed ourselves to feel yet, because we live with a world, a culture, or a lack of culture, a society that's obsessed with certainty, and everyone wants to have these fixed identities, and we have beliefs and opinions and roles that are all very narrow and fixed. And we're taught that we need to build a strong ego, a strong personality, a strong version of ourselves, and defend that. Because we need to know who we are and what we believe, and this is how I live, and this is what I want, and this is what I eat, and this is me, my personality, the ego. But that's not the self. So life is not like that. Life is a fluid. It's like water. It just keeps flowing. Everything changes. Look at nature. It doesn't really stay in one form. It's always changing. The river changes direction. The tide is always different. The waves are always different. The seasons are always different. Everything is changing. Everything in the whole creation, everything in existence is in a constant state of change. It's always moving. It's always becoming something else. It's in this state of impermanence. But we have these conditioned minds that want permanence inside a reality that's not permanent. That's the word Maya. It means illusion. It ultimately just means that which isn't permanent. And that's the cause of suffering. And suffering just sucks. Most people suffer because they don't know who they are, and they're holding on to a past version of the self, and they're not open to change. They suffer because they're trying to remain who they no longer are. And that's where self-doubt comes in. Self-doubt is valuable, and it can often appear when the old ego, the old identity is cracking. It's starting to crack. It's starting to change. And then we start questioning what we used to feel certain about, we're no longer certain about. Whether it's a relationship or a job, or even our spiritual path, our desires, our likes, our dislikes, our beliefs, our purpose, all of it. When we're not sure of who we are and things start to change, then that doubt comes in. And it's a good thing. It helps us to examine. It helps us to do self-inquiry, to look deeper. But the conditioned mind interprets that as danger because it's not certain. It's not known. But uncertainty is actually the foundation. It's the beginning of our awakening. And that is the process of transformation. And transformation requires death. The death of certainty, number one, the death of our fixed ideas. If we want to be a butterfly, we have to go into a cocoon and do some shadow work, go into the darkness and metamorphosize. And when we're ready to grow, something has to change. Like the lobster story. When the lobster is ready to grow, the shell creates a lot of pressure on the lobster, and then it goes down deep into the darkness of the ocean, and it finds a safe place. We need safety. It finds a safe rock, a safe crevice, and then it cracks the shell. And then it grows a new shell, and then it comes out, a new lobster. So when we're ready to grow, things change, things crack. We need a new perception. New perception creates a new reality. And when our perception changes, our reality changes and our life changes. And so when we're in these periods of confusion, we should see that as a divine message. that something needs to change, that it's time to change, that we're ready to change. And most of society is teaching us to escape this change, to escape uncertainty. And so we distract ourselves with a million things outside of ourselves. We numb ourselves out. We make our image on social media a certain way to seek validation that who we are is still relevant. And we search for other people to tell us who we are and how good we are and all these things. But wisdom doesn't come from constant certainty. It comes from the ability to adapt and change. There's actually divine intelligence in the space between these identities, because we're not the identity. That's just the personality, the persona, the mask, or the self. And so in between the breath, there's uncertainty. Are we going to inhale or exhale again? Everything is not known. The more I know, the more I realize I really don't know. And so self-doubt is valuable. It becomes destructive when we resist it. It becomes harmful and destructive when we shame ourselves for having it. And when we try and force clarity before clarity is ready to be had. So when self-doubt is consciously felt, when we can observe it and explore it with mindfulness, then that leads to change. That leads to some kind of revelation. And it shows us where we've outgrown that old, outdated model. When the computer screen says it's time for a new operating system, we just update the operating system. We don't have doubt and we don't have confusion and clarity if we should update the operating system. We just update it. So we need to have that same attitude towards ourselves. We need to update the operating system. And one of the things that self-doubt can do is show us life that we've built is conditioned and it's not the truth. It's like stepping out of the matrix. And sometimes self-doubt can show us where fear has been running our lives, has been running our decision-making process. And we've succumbed to fear versus truth and to having faith in ourselves. And sometimes the self-doubt shows us the mask that we've worn to receive more likes on Instagram or Facebook or whatever your social media page is. But it's also there to show us that we're ready to emerge. In Ayurveda and the Vedic psychology, the suffering comes when we disconnect ourselves from who we are, which is self. We create these identities through memory and through the conditions and through the trauma and the attachments. And we survive through these patterns instead of thriving by transcending them. So self-doubt shakes up the structure. The mind experiences this shaking up of those structures as an instability and something wrong, but it's not. It's how we experience liberation from the old self. The deeper self, the higher self, the true self wants new air. It wants a new shell to live in for a little while until it's time to change again. And sure, yeah, the process can be incredibly uncomfortable for pretty much everyone. It's never pleasant growth, like growing pains, right? They're called growing pains for a reason. But we need to do it. We need to do it consciously with breath, through movement, through being in nature. The ego wants to control everything. It wants the predictability and certainty, but we need to surrender to uncertainty. We need to surrender to the unknown. We need to surrender to being radically open to life itself and be willing to stop controlling every moment, or to stop having the illusion that we're controlling every moment. We need to be willing to feel life fully, all the emotions. We came here to experience all of it. We want to experience the highest bliss. We also need to know what pain is. We want to experience divine light. We need to know the shadow, the darkness. So this transformation, it has to happen. If we want the highest truth, it has to happen. So we need to surrender into uncertainty. It's very simple. If we can allow the heart and the mind to soften, our nervous system can relax enough that we can open, and then an awareness happens, or at least an awareness deepens. We can have insight. especially when we're sitting in nature with the 5 elements, breathing fresh air, drinking clean water, sitting on the earth. It allows us to relax into that. Watch the trees blow, watch the wind blow, watch the clouds go by. No cloud is ever the same. We're changing moment to moment, just like those clouds. And often, I know it's difficult, but the greatest awakenings in human life, my experience in 50 years has been through my own experience and through all the people that I've consulted, is that the greatest change, the greatest awakening comes when there's a disruption, whether it's the loss of a job or a loss of our wealth or the loss of a loved one or a divorce, a health crisis, a spiritual crisis. All these bring up deep questioning. And while in the moment it may feel like some collapse and that the world is a horrible place, if we can breathe into that and see what's going on inside of us, immense change, immense growth can happen. Life itself, if we're open to it, will remove what no longer serves us, what's not aligned. It does that naturally. We just resist it, and so we suffer. So let's remain open without grasping for certainty. Let's remain open so we can live a more authentic life in harmony with nature, a more aligned path. And in that, we become deeply connected to our purpose. And that's actually the embodiment of spirituality. Spirituality is being a human because we're a spirit soul. But we become present, we become awakened to an extent. Because there's a hidden value, there's hidden truth, there's hidden wisdom, there's a teaching in every identity collapse. But the modern world doesn't teach that. It doesn't teach us how to stay present. We have to do it. We have to go against the grain. As Krishnamurti said, it's no sign of mental health to be well adapted to a sick society. So we need to change. Be open to change. Be open to doubt. Use the self-doubt as self-inquiry. Be curious. Curiosity opens our consciousness. We're never meant to stay the same. We're not a fixed identity. We're meant to evolve. The problem isn't in the change. The problem comes when we're attached to the previous version of ourselves. When we're attached to the old operating system on the computer doesn't run efficiently. So we need to update the system. So we sit, we meditate, we breathe, we listen. So feel that in your body right now, wherever you are, unless you're doing something that could endanger your life, like driving a car. You can do this in the car too. Just keep your eyes open. Feel where it is in your body. And ask yourself, what old versions of me are ready to dissolve right now? And also ask, what part of the ego am I afraid to let go of? What part of me is dissolving right now? What old identity structures are dissolving? And what am I actually afraid to let go of? What do I think is going to happen if I let go of that old self? And also ask, what truth, what new version of myself do I see emerging through this uncertainty? What's the new version of myself, the higher version of myself, the light version of myself that I see? So if there's confusion, it's not a weakness. Allow it to be there and question. The greatest wisdom does not arrive through certainty. It comes through surrender, through listening, through allowing life to play, through nervous system relaxing, through safety. And that comes through breath. That comes through surrender, through yoga, through meditation, through breath work, through mantra. So stop fighting the self-doubt and just become curious about it. It's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to help you. It's your friend. It's your teacher. So thank you for joining me. If this resonated with you in any way, share this episode with someone who might be moving through some kind of uncertainty right now, through self-doubt. And our breakdown may become our breakthrough. So stop resisting the transformation. Let it unfold within you and fill your hearts with love and express that in everything you do. And again, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave your comments, share your experience, share your wisdom so we can all grow from it. Before you go, if you've been curious about Ayurveda and want to actually understand your body and start applying it into your daily life, I built the complete Ayurveda course for exactly that. It contains more than 30 years of education and practice distilled into 50 lessons, with over 10 hours of content, guided meditations, personalized assessments, and so much more. It's designed so you'll feel real shifts as you go through it. You'll experience more energy, better digestion, increased mental clarity, and a deeper sense of balance. Lesson by lesson, it's all there. So go to Nibodhi.com/courses to learn more.